G-O-B.
Welcome back to another GOB course vlog. I'm your host, Sons and Guns. And today, instead of a normal vlog, I'm going to run an interesting social experiment here on the course of how well an amateur does playing from the tips. Again, it's probably going to be a lot longer than I'm used to, but we're going to give it a try just to see how an amateur plays. Again, from the longest tees here at Twisted Gun here in West Virginia. Beautiful day regardless. Let's just go ahead and see how we can do. So as we start our round, hole 1, par 4, dogleg right to left, just want to make it known that I'm just going to share some tips as we go along today, just my personal thoughts on ways to improve the game or improve yourself as a golfer, managing around the course. And on this first hole, I mean, it's pretty uneventful, you know, a driver, a rescue club on the green, and give myself a 2-putt, which is always a positive way to start a round. And golf's a game of peaks and valleys. Just try to always stay positive while you're on the course. Let's get on to the next hole. As we move into hole 2, par 3, one of the big points I want to get across in doing this type of video is, you know, you can play well off the tee, but a sharp short game will always be essential to have some level of success. You can hit it 250 yards with a big drive, but if you can't hit a 10-yard chip and get up and down for a par, I mean, you'll really struggle around and probably not have as good a time as you would expect. But, you know, here I always try to rely on my short game a lot because I just don't hit it as far as I used to as a kid. But moving right on. As we enter our third hole, at this point, I saw a single playing behind me, and I invited him in to play with me, and he accepted. So as much as it's a social experiment and the golf's a solo game, companionship around the course is always making it a little bit more fun. You challenge yourself against your opponent or just share ideas, exchange comments, you know, just build a camaraderie around the course that otherwise you wouldn't receive when you're playing by yourself. Here I just left my putt to the outside, but a little tap in par. Let's move on. Moving right into hole 4, par 4, dogleg left to right. Plays to my strengths, and that leads right to the next point. When you're out playing golf, you know, if you're experienced with a certain type of shot and want to keep and maintain that swing, you should go for it. But also don't be scared to experiment as well. You know, playing rounds like this in the middle of the afternoon or the middle of a midday afternoon, you know, it leads you to a little bit of an experimentation from time to time, but still, if you're not growing, you're standing still, get out there and have a little fun. So as we enter hole 5, par 4, I believe this was the number 1 handicap hole, and the distance here made quite the difference as an amateur. Because even on my best day, I don't think I could have gotten to the green in 2. You know, a driver, a 3-wood. While I kept the ball in play, I still ended up well short. I think this approach shot was from 90 yards and ended up short to that. But a bump and run chip. Strong short game again saves me a bogey, which is always a good thing in the amateur style. Moving right along. Jumping right into hole 6, par 3, and if you've made it this far already, why don't you go ahead and give the video a like and subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. And again, playing these longer distances from the back tees, I'm playing a 3-wood from this tee and still ended up well short. Handsy bump and run chip. Short game rescuing me again. Again, while I'm have a bogey, it's still a great hole for an amateur. Moving right along. Moving right into hole 7, par 4. This will be a shared learning experience here. Again, Distance from the back tees really didn't make too much of a difference on this hole. Teed it off long and strong, playing off my amateur cut. But to the second shot, I pushed one out to the right and out into the long grass, resulting in a penalty. Lost balls for an amateur could be quite costly to a round, but scrambling skills aside, I jump up and get up and down for my bogey. Still a good hole. So as we enter hole 8 par 5 straight away and then back to the left, this is a good collaboration of all the shots in my arsenal as an amateur golfer, just playing off my standard cut, which is my strong suit, just getting the ball in play. I'll just call it a fairway finder. Hitting my rescue clubs, my 3 woods, extremely well. Again, just keeping that ball in play in front of me. Although I got up and under this wedge, ended up just short. Leaned heavily back on my short game, and I put a chip right next to the hole. So once it all comes together as an amateur, you can be quite successful, continue to have a good time. Transitioning into hole 9 par 4, the last hole of this video. Again, starting off strong off the tee, relying heavily on my fairway finder driver. It may not be long, but keeping it in play is always a good thing. Fairway wood, get a little bit skinny and almost goes into a lake to the right. Bump and run chip on. So again, all my short game is working, but the weakest part of my game shows up. 1 putt, 2 putt, 3 putt. We could always, as amateurs, as pros, get out there and practice more putting. Saves you strokes around the hole, around the course. Hope you learned something. So as this experiment comes to a close, I'll just say that this didn't make too much of a difference today. But if you've enjoyed this style of video, let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.
Do you want to know?